The change will come faster. So let's start by what all do we have to study inside the chapter? We have to study nerve cell. What do we have to study? We have to study reflex action, study the human brain, study hormones in animals, tropic and nastic movements, study hormones in plants, hormones in plants, animals. We have to study everything, man. Meaning whatever is given in the NCERT, it can come in exam. I will teach you the entire everything, don't worry. Also remember this, I will cover lots and lots of previous year question too. Let's begin by, first we will understand two terms, stimuli and response. What are they? Let's understand a story. It's a Sunday, you're sleeping comfortably at home. It's 12 p.m. Mom came and said, hey, get up, useless fellow, sleeping till 12 o'clock. You got up, you opened the door, you reached the courtyard and immediately sunlight fell on your face. Suddenly sunlight fell on your face. And as soon as the sun hits, what do? We react like this, right? We close our eyes and turn our head. Oh, the sun hit, we put our hand up. The sun hit. But this sudden sunlight that hit you, what is this? It's a change in your environment. A change happened in your surroundings. When you were in the room, it was completely dark. As soon as you went outside, the sun hit. Change in your environment. This change in environment, we call this stimuli. Change in the environment to which an organism responds. And in exchange for this, the response you gave, the reaction you gave, what did you do? You give this reaction. To whom did you give the reaction? To the change, to the sunlight, to the stimuli. The reaction which we give, that reaction is called response. Reaction of an organism to a stimulus. Stimulus is a singular, stimuli is plural, meaning lots of changes. So what is stimuli? Any change in the environment to which an organism responds. And what is response? Reaction to that stimuli. Okay, good. Now understand one thing, coordination. Coordination means working together simultaneously. Just understand one thing, when the sun hit your eye, when you got a stimuli, light, the stimuli change. Then you closed your eyes, turned your head and put your hand. 1, 2, 3. But you don't do it that slowly. You give the entire reaction all at once. Meaning your body's different parts are participating simultaneously. Working together of different body parts, different organs. What is this? This is coordination between different body parts. So coordination is working together of a various body parts to respond to a stimuli. Right now I'm standing here. I'm looking at the camera. So what I'm doing? I'm looking at camera, I'm speaking, I'm moving my hands and I'm also standing balanced on my feet. What is that? It's coordination. This different coordination of my different body parts. Working together of different body parts. So these three terms are clear now. Stimuli, response and coordination. Look, here are two examples. This lovely, beautiful Babita. Hey sir, she likes me. How similar are you? Go back. Now what happened? She was cooking something. Suddenly what happened? Steam came out. So steam came out. That stimuli. What is stimuli? Heat. Heat. As soon as she sensed the stimuli, what did she do? She pulled her hand back. What is this? Her response. What? Taking her hand back. Like this is you. Babu, you stepped outside, the sun hit. I've already explained this example. What did you do? You give a response and the sunlight become the stimuli. What is coordination? Lots and lots of body parts working simultaneously. Good. Now beta, we have to study coordination in animals, inside the animals. Animal means human. Whenever I say animal, you imagine your own face. You are also an animal. Yes, biology says exactly that. Sir, I am lion, donkey. Hey. Sorry, I am also donkey. Everyone's donkey. Okay. We have to study coordination in animals. That is how do different organs work together in humans and animals. How do separate organs work together? Who is making them coordinate simultaneously? Who is their master? So beta, this is what we have to study, coordination in animals. So this entire coordination is done by two systems. One is our nervous system. You have studied the nervous system a little bit, related to brain and all that. The second is our endocrine system. Endocrine system beta is related to hormones, related to chemicals. We will study that later. First, the nervous system. So coordination in animals, meaning animals or humans, how do different body parts work together in us due to big systems. One, the nervous system. One, the endocrine. Endocrine, hormones, chemicals. This will come later. First, this we will study. In this, there are quite few concepts. Now, our nervous system is made up of two things. There are two important parts of the nervous system. The first is central nervous system, which you call CNS, central nervous system. Central, what is the central nervous system? Your brain. By you know the brain takes all the decision. One more thing is very important, the spinal cord. What is the spinal cord? It is a choti coming out from behind your brain. It is a tail which comes out from behind your brain and goes, look here, this. Here you can see your brain, it's your brain. And a choti is going from here. Yes, my good do. You also have a choti. Not only girls have it. Inside a choti is going. A tail is going. What is this called? A spinal cord. Now listen carefully, beta. Until now you say, don't you have a brain? Don't you have a brain? Beta, the brain is not taking all the decision. The brain and the spinal cord both together take decision. Both are important. If your body's prime minister is the brain, then your body's home minister will be spinal cord. That is also important. Meaning, if suppose you are thinking the brain is Modi ji, the spinal cord is who? That's Amit Shah ji, behind they tell everything what to do. So the central nervous system is formed by combining two things. The central nervous system, who? The brain and spinal cord. What is the spinal cord, beta? There are lots of fibers, like this, lots and lots of fibers. They are visible too. There are lots of fibers. This is the spinal cord. Many people think that the spinal cord is the spine, vertebral column, that our backbone is the same as the spinal cord. No. Spinal cord is not equal to backbone. No. What is the vertebral column, beta? Our vertebral column is our spine, the backbone. What is it? Understand it like this. It's a hollow pipe. This is a hollow pipe. And from inside, there is so many fibers are going. What it is called? They are called spinal cord. So the spinal cord is not the backbone. In fact, the backbone is what? It's a pipe. It's a hollow pipe through which the spinal cord is passing. This is the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. The second is peripheral nervous system, PNS, peripheral nervous system. What is this, beta? So, beta, the brain and spinal cord together take decision and all. But the different parts of the body also need to be told what to do. So, there are some wires that go from the brain and through the spinal cord into the different parts of the body. And these wires that are going from the brain and going from the spinal cord, we call these wires peripheral nervous system. They must be wires only which take the signal. The wires which comes from our mind, we call them cranial nervous. And the wires that come out from our spinal cord, we call them spinal nervous. So peripheral means side, right? Periphery. The side one nervous system. The side one nervous system is also very important. Which are the side one nervous system parts? One is the nerves coming out of the brain. Which nerves are coming out of the brain? What is it? Cranial nerves. Nerves coming out of the brain, cranial. Which is the second one? The nerves that coming out from the spinal cord. The wires that are coming out of the spinal cord. Wires only will go and that by move your hand, open your eyes, turn your head. So the wires that are coming out of the spinal cord, this is called spinal nerve. And the wires that are coming out of the brain, we call them a cranial nerve. Both of these together make what? The peripheral nervous system, the side one nervous system. Is it clear? In the central nervous system, the brain, and its tail, the spinal cord. In the peripheral nervous system, peripheral means the side one. What? Nerves come out from the brain, cranial nerves. Nerves come out from the spinal cord, spinal nerve. This much is clear to us, bhai. Let's move on. Next is the receptor and effector. From here questions come, bhai, in the exam. Now what is receptor? Beta, your body is those cells, those tissues, those organs which receive the stimuli, the change. Receptor. Receptor. What is the name itself? Receptor means receive. Cells, tissues or organs that receive the stimulus, which receive the change. Let's understand. When the sun hit, who understand that change? Who received it? The eyes. You are able to hear my voice. It's a change, right? Voice coming. Why are you hearing it? Who is receiving the voice? Your ears. What was received? Sound. So smell, a fragrance. What is the fragrance? It's a change. Sir, Meg in my class. Yeah, she is not looking at you. Come back. Smell. Why it's coming? Nose received it. You taste a thing. Who receives it? The tongue received it. Tongue got it. You received that change. So beta, such cells, such tissues or such organs which do what? Which receive the stimuli. They are called receptors. In our syllabus, they are sensory receptors. 6 sensory receptors we have to study. Which are they? Eyes there, nose is there, tongue is there, ear is there, skin. Skin has 2 functions, that's why it will be 6. Okay, good. What happens? Let's understand. The very first thing is photoreceptors. Photo, beta, where did it come from? Photo came from photon. What is photon? It's a particle of light. So photoreceptors, which change do they catch? Photoreceptors, which stimuli do they catch? Light. And where will photoreceptors be? Who catch the light? Which organ? Where are these receptors will be? In the eyes. So receptor, sense organ and stimuli. Okay. So photoreceptors catch what? Stimuli, light. And which organ are they? In the eyes. Our second is olfactory receptors. Have you heard olfactory somewhere? In chemistry, in acid-base salt, olfactory indicators, meaning something related to smell. So olfactory receptors, where will they be? Inside the nose. What stimuli will they perceive? That of smell. Next, you will have to remember a little gustatory receptors. Gustatory receptors, in which organ are they? In the tongue. And which stimuli do we receive? Taste. Gustatory. Okay, gustatory. So from here, something of the other like taste is sounding to you. Gustatory. So something like taste or is sounding. So who perceives taste? The tongue. Next is phonoreceptors. Phono means something like sound and all. Phono. Who will receive it? The ear. So the organ become the ear, and our stimuli is what? Sound. Next is beta my thermoreceptors. Now what are thermoreceptors? They are in our skin, in the whole hand, in the foot, in the whole body, in the skin, everywhere. Thermo what receptors do? They perceive heat and cold. So where are thermoreceptors? In the skin, heat and cold. They are in the whole skin. If I touch something hot here, it would feel hurt. In the whole skin, what is there? Thermoreceptors. In the skin, there is one more receptor, nociceptor. Nociceptors, what do they receive? Pain. Pain. What happened? Pain. Who received it? The skin did. Because it has what? Nociceptors. So in the skin, nociceptors, what do they receive? Pain. Sir, in my eye too, they have nociceptors. It pains a lot, sir, when she lives in the eye to nociceptor. In our world, not in biology. Understood? So these 6 sensory receptors we have to understand. Photoreceptors in which organ? In the eye. Which stimulus? Light. Olfactory receptors in which organ? Nose. Which stimulus? Smell. Gustatory receptors, taste. Where? Tongue. Next is our phonoreceptor, sound, ear. Next is your thermal receptors. Where? In the skin, heat and cold. And last is your nociceptors. Nociceptor what? Pain. Pain where? In the skin. Okay. Next is beta effector. Now what is an effector, beta? Which brings the effect. Suppose someone slaps you. Nociceptors, pain happened to the skin. The signal went to the brain that bhai we have been hit. The brain will say you hit back too. You hit back at them. What is this? It's an effect. What is this? Effect. So such cells, such tissues, such glands, such muscles, which do what? Which responds. Those who responds, we call them effectors. Muscles, tissues, glands, which acts in response to a stimuli. Who receives the stimuli? The receptors. And who gives the response? The effector. Who's received the stimuli? Receptor. Who gives the response? Effectors. Clear? Now see this question. CBSE 25, 24, 23, 20, 18. These similar questions came there. What is meant by receptors in the human body? Receptors, cell, tissues, organs which receive a stimuli. Name any 4 types of receptor with their location. Here are the receptors and this will be your location. Come on, let's move on. Next is beta nerve cell or neuron. Now understand one thing. Suppose a receptor received something. Suppose my hand touched a cup and we felt the tea was hot. How did the tea feel? It is hot tea. Touch the cup. So this signal goes to my brain. This signal goes to my brain. The tea is hot. Okay. Now how does this signal go? Beta signal goes just like how current comes in the house. Currents come from the wire. Similarly, in our minds too, there are lots of wires which carry the signal. Now just like what is inside these wires at home, there is electric current. Inside our body, there is an electric impulse. And the wires that carry the electric impulse, what are they called? They are called nerves. So the very first thing, what is a nerve? A nerve is a bundle of fibers. There are a lot of fibers. There are a lot of wires. What is a nerve? Lots of wires. There are a lot of wires in the whole body that carries signals between the brain and other parts of the body. They carry the signal between the brain and the different parts of the body. But this signal is not electric current. We call this an electric impulse, or say signal or electric impulse. Is it understood what a nerve is? There are a lot of wires inside our body which are connected from the mind to our different organs. Lots of wire connected to the mind, from where the message goes that bhai do this, do that. Go propose to Priya. Okay, you got beaten and came back, don't tell anyone. So all these messages are going through what? Through wires. And those wires we call nerves. And this message is not current. What is it? It's going to form an electric impulse. Now what things are nerves made of? We studied in the first chapter 9, the fundamental unit of life. Everything is made up of what? Cells. So nerves are also made of cells. These nerves, these wires are made up of some cells of small cells. These are called neuron or nerve cell. Neuron or nerve cell. What is this? The structural and functional unit of the nervous system. The functional unit is the fundamental unit. Structural and smallest unit, what is? Neuron or nerve cell. If anyone asks the smallest unit of nervous system, what you should say? Nerve cell, or its name neuron. Okay. Now a neuron is actually not that small. There are some neurons in our body, some nerve cells that are as long as 1 meter. Very long, like this, long, snake-like. It is not the largest, it is the longest. They are thin, long, longest cells. Now how does it look? It looks something like this. Beta, above you will see this kind of mouth, the head will be visible. Below you will see this kind of tail. And in last, it looks like the roots type of thing. Look at this carefully, it comes in the drawing. The most up you see, what are you seeing? You are seeing some structure like a head of this kind. Okay. And from this forward here also, these puchra hairs are coming out. Okay. These hairs that come out right at the end, they are called dendrite. What are they called? Dendrite. They are hunters. What is dendrite? Hair, see hair, like this, hair. What do? They hunt. Whose? Electric impulse. Signal. Where is the signal? Where is the signal antenna? Where is the signal? We got it. Grab the signal and took it to hair inside the head. You can also call the cell body. Why is this part called the cell body? Because the cell's nucleus is inside the same part. So the dendrite, this attached above, I asked what did it do? It caught the signal. Where did it bring it? Inside the cell body. The cell body sends the signal or electric impulse down towards the tail, saying take the signal and go pass it forward. The signal is give it a hug. The signal that comes in the tail, this tail beta we call the axon. Remember the main job of the tail, electric impulse travels along the axon. The electric impulse travels along it. This is long part, right? This is small part, this is long part. So electric impulse around this traveling very long. Coming. When it reaches the bottom, then here are saying something like roots. This, what is this beta? This is the ending of your nerve cell of the neuron. Therefore, we call this nerve ending. Now beta, after this what will happen? Another cell will come. After one cell, the second cell, then the third, fourth, and like this, millions of cells together will make what? It will make a wire. Inside this wire, there are a lot of cells. Now what will this nerve ending? The last part need to do, it must send the signal into the next nerve cell. And to the next one, that by the signal should go from here to here. To do this, what do? They release some chemicals. Because there is a gap in the middle. Current won't go, gap. If I cut the wire in the middle, will the current go from this to this wire? No. There will be gap from here. The next cell. A little microscope, but little bit far. So the current won't go, right? So what do? In the last, they release some chemicals. Nerve ending job is electrical impulse causes the release of chemicals. So this entire story is about our neuron. What is written? It carries message in the form of electric impulse or signal. Now suppose they tell you to draw a neuron. So see, it very simple, it feels tough. Say do like this Zoe, do this like Zoe, from here Zoe, from here do Zoe, from here do Zoe, from here do Zoe, and this is its tail. Okay, how did I tell you? Look carefully. Do like this Zoe, do like this Zoe, from here do Zoe, from here do Zoe, then bring like this Zoe, then bring like this Zoe, and there is its tail coming out. Okay, what will be made here, beta? What will be made on tail? Your nerve endings will be made here. This tail, what do we call it? The tail we call the axon. What will be here? The nucleus will be here. This entire thing is what? It's cell body. From here, take out the puchre. What did they become? These become dendrite. What did it become? Dendrites become. What did it become? Dendrites become. Okay, look at one more thing. You must have seen one thing at the back, that some covering was attached on top of it. I did not tell you. NCERT also does not tell you. Like this. These boxes are not really like this. Like this boxes. Look here. This box is yellow color. What are these? There are on some neurons, not on some. These are called myelin sheath. What do? They save the impulse from being lost, so the impulse doesn't get lost outside, doesn't go somewhere else. Prevents electric signal from leaking out of the axon. These are not on all neurons, they are on some neurons. NCERT does not talk about this. The myelin sheath, and they are in which neurons? We call them myelinated neurons. Okay, so if it comes to draw, you will be able to make it. Is it clear? You can do it just like this. Here dendrite, here is also dendrite, here is also dendrite, here is also nerve ending. Very good. CBSE 1918, what are they saying? Draw a diagram of neuron and label its part. We will do it by the fusela above is called dendrite. What does it do? Collects information. Then cell body came. Then what came? The tail. What does it call? Axon. Then what came? The nerve ending came, which does release of chemical of the electric impulse. Three parts must be labeled. Where information is acquired? Where is information acquired? In this, in the dendrite A. Through which information travels as an electrical impulse. Through which information travels. See, it does here too. But I said the longest part is this. So through this information travels from the axon like an electric impulse. Where the electric impulse must be converted into a chemical signal. Where the electric impulse changes into a chemical one. At the last, at the bottom, meaning nerve ending became your C. Clear? Okay. Now what is the next story that we are studying? That how will the signal go from one neuron to second neuron? There is some gap between one neuron and second neuron. Now this signal came up to here. How will it reach from here to here? This we will need to understand. Better suppose this is a wire. Now what will this wire be made of? Small, lots of cell. This is a nerve, which is nerve cell. By the electric impulse came into it. Now how will it jump from here to here? This we will need to understand. Okay. First thing you understand that there is a gap between two nerve cells. It always be there a microscope level gap between two cells. This microscopic gap of two neurons or nerve cells between, we call it synapse. It's a very nice name, synapse. What is synapse? It's a microscopic gap between two neurons. Simply you can say it like this, or it is a microscopic gap between the nerve ending of first neuron and dendrites of the next neuron. The microscopic gap between the nerve ending of the first neuron and the dendrite of next neuron, what is called? It is called synapse. Okay. Now the question is, how will the current or electric impulse, the signal electric impulse from here to here, how will it come? So beta, games happen. What is the game? It's that this ending you see at the last, this one, this ending that is visible. In this, in the last, a knob gets formed like this. Synaptic knob. These frayed parts that are visible, they become round in the end. This nerve ending which is yours, I'll write NE, the nerve ending, coming to the end becomes round, something like this. Like this here, round. Inside this, some chemicals are filled. What is filled? Chemicals. Now it says, by current will not go from here to here, right? The wire is cut in the middle. The wire is cut there. Current will not go, right? It says, let's do one thing. Let's release chemical. So what does the nerve ending do? It release some chemicals here. It release some chemicals so that these chemicals will travel. Current will not travel. The electric impulse will not travel. But these chemicals will travel. That's right. The chemicals reach from the nerve ending of the first neuron to the dendroid of the second neuron. Okay. But it needs an impulse. What to do with the chemical? Okay. Now what happens? The chemicals reach the very last part of the dendrite. Reach the tip. Where did they reach? Tip. They reach last part. The chemicals together did some chemical reaction. If you look at chemical reaction, there are some ions, sodium ions, potassium ions, calcium ions. So what happened here, beta? Here the movement of ions started. Ions moved. What is chemical reaction? Ions move. In displacement reaction, one ion entered inside, one exited outside. In double displacement, ions movement. So the ions move. Beta, if the ions move, then somewhere the ions are more, somewhere they are less. If somewhere the ions are more, somewhere they are less, then what did I get? Potential difference. The difference of voltage I got. And where there is potential difference, there is current. So beta, from the movement of ions, what was formed again? The electric impulse. Where? On the tip of tetrate. Electric impulse. Listen again. They came here on the nerve ending. It said here a house and the electric impulse forward. There is a gap in the middle. The gap is called synapse. It is the microscopic gap. It said, let's do one thing. Let's take out the chemical. At its end, the round, the like fried, the chemical comes out from here. The NCERT does not mention this thing, the synaptic nerve. You don't need to read it. I told you simple thing. Okay. What did it do? It released the chemical in the nerve ending. The chemicals that traveled, the chemicals reached the next neuron near the dendrite of the second nerve cell and also the near depth of the dendrite. Now what happened? Chemical reaction. Chemical reaction, remember this. Movement of ions. From the movement of ions, what happened? Electric impulse formed. If you remember this, it's fine. Otherwise, just write this. From the movement of ion, what happened? Somewhere ions are more, somewhere less. What came out? Current, meaning the electric impulse. It was received by the tip of the dendrite. From here, it came inside. It went to the cell body. From the cell body, tail. What do we call that? Axon. It went to the axon. Then where did it reach? It reached nerve ending. Now after this, again there is a gap. After this, what will happen? Again a gap will form. Now the next neuron, what will it do? What will its nerve ending do? Nerve ending, it will also have what? Like knob type, and this what? Chemical will be filled. So what will be released? Chemical. And who will grab this chemical? Ahead of this, there will be dendrite on the next neuron. And in this way, the signal keeps traveling forward. Clear? All these things are written here. The microscopic gap between two neurons is synapse, either said like this, or the microscopic gap between nerve ending of first neuron and dendrite, or you can also call dendrite of next neuron. Okay. Now one thing is asked that by what is job of the synapse? What is the function of synapse? What is the main function of the synapse? What is the function of synapse? So beta, the function of synapse is to deliver the electric impulse from one neuron to another neuron. How does it do this function? This is the synapse, meaning the microscopic gap. What does it do? The ending of the first nerve release what? Chemical. What do this chemical do? Chemical reaction. Where? On the top of the dendrite of the second nerve. What happened here? Chemical reaction, movement of ions formed what? Electric impulse. So this whole story is written here. The chemicals they release, those special kind of chemicals are also called neurotransmitters. This thing is not written in NCERT, you can also leave it. These chemicals are some special kind of chemicals, what they are called neurotransmitters, because what are they doing? They are transmitting the signal. Look here, the same thing is written in the form of flow chart. Transmission of impulse between two neurons. Chemical collected at the end of dendritic tip. What happened on the tip? The chemical is collected. Chemical reaction creates movement of ions. What happened? Movement of ions happened. Ion movements create potential difference. A difference in voltage happened. If you forget this one, it's okay. Electric impulse is generated at dendritic tip. Where was the impulse generated? On the tip of dendrite. From the chemical reaction, from the movement of ions. Then what happened? Impulse travels. Then what will happen? Once the electric impulse is created, it will go into dendrite, then will go into cell body, then it will go into tail, meaning the axon. Then where will it reach? The nerve. What happened? Impulse travels from dendrite to cell body, impulse travels through the axon, reaches the nerve endings, release of chemicals at the synapse. From here, what will happen? Chemicals were released. Say, did you understand awesomely? Very good, bye. Okay. Question CBSE 25, 2019, 2018. This is question similar to it. Electric impulse travels in a neuron form. What part does the impulse take? If I think that I should attempt to draw a neuron here, then if I draw a neuron like this, where does the impulse first reach? On the dendrite. From the dendrite, where does it go? To the cell body. From there, where does it go? To the axon. Where did it go from there? To nerve ending. This will be order: dendrite, cell body, axon, nerve ending. Clear? Come on, let's move forward. CBSE 295, 2019, 2015. What is a synapse? It came, or synapse is the microscopic gap between the nerve ending of the first neuron and dendrite of next neuron. It is the work between these. How is the electric impulse created in a nerve cell? How is the electric impulse created? What happens by near the dendrite? What are these? These are chemicals. This chemical reaction, movement of ions, due to which electric impulse is generated. In a neuron, an electric impulse is created by the difference in potential created by, remember this, movement of ions across the neuron membrane. What is the role of synapse in this context? What is the role of synapse? The synapse has only one job, what? To transmit the impulse, to make it jump from one neuron to other. How does it do? The same old story is written. It is release chemical, etc., etc. At synapse, the electric impulse causes the release of chemicals, neurotransmitters from the nerve ending of one neuron. These chemicals cross the synaptic gap. They cross this gap. They cross this gap. Then what happens? And reach the dendritic tip of next neuron, generating new electric impulse. Say, are you understanding wholesomely? Very good. So just like this, the signal goes forward. Let's go. Okay. Now we have types of neurons. Now listen up. Suppose my hand picked up a cup of cold tea. What did it pick? A cup of cold tea. My hand is holding cold cup. What did I hold? Cold tea. Cold tea. Now what is the stimulus here? The stimulus is the cold tea. And who received it? The hand did. So what did the hand become? Receptor. Now this signal must go to my brain. Say, by the tea is cold. Should I drink it or not? Decide. Now the wires through which, the nerve cells through which this signals goes to my brain, we call this sensory neurons. What happened? What was the stimulus? Cold tea. Who picked it up? The receptor. From the receptor to my brain, and not just the brain, but the brain and spinal cord. The central nervous system. The wires through which this signal goes are called sensory neurons. These wires are picked up from here, carried the signal to our spinal cord and brain, the central nervous system. These wires are called sensory neurons. Okay. The brain found out, the spinal cord found out. Where did it reach first? It reaches to spinal cord. The spinal cord touches the brain. By the T is called, what should we do? First the spinal cord. Where will it go first? Where does any file go first by? It goes to Home Minister sir. Sir, please see this file. Home Minister sir, acha, let me ask the Prime Minister. Yes sir, tell me. They are saying it's cold tea. The brain says cold tea. What is cold tea? Okay, right, cold tea shouldn't be drunk. The brain has lot of information. It thought, yes, cold tea is not drunk. Do one thing, spinal cord, tell them to drop the cup. Not cold tea. The spinal cord says, okay. Now, the information has to come back from our central nervous system. Back to whom will it come? Back to the same hand. But this time, the hand won't be receptor. This time it will react. It will become effector. So those wires, nerve cells, neurons, the neurons that bring information from the central nervous system, where do they bring information from the central nervous system? To the effector. Those wires are called motor neurons. Where did we come to? With the response to the effector. What's the response? Drop the cup, leave it. Don't drink it, leave it. This is the whole story. Okay. So we understood two types of neurons. One that takes information from the receptor to the central nervous system, sensory neurons. Transmit impulses from receptors to central nervous system. The second, that takes the impulse or information from the central nervous system and goes where? Go to effector, motor neuron. Motor neurons transmit impulse from central nervous system to effectors, which can be muscle or gland. Did you understand? Sensory, which takes information from the effector. Sorry, sensory, which take information from the receptor to the CNS. Motor, which takes information for impulse from the CNS and comes where? To the effector. There is a third one, relay neurons or interneurons. Itself name is inter, means middle. Now within our nervous central system, the brain and spinal cord, there are also some wires here. These wires that are here, which connect the sensory neuron and the motor neuron, these wires in the middle are called interneurons, in between neurons, or relay neurons. Have you seen relay race? One person comes with something in their hand, gives it to next, and the next one takes it and go to third. So they pass it. That's why they are named relay neurons. The one you are seeing in the middle, here on the central nervous system, what is it? Relay neurons. Connect sensory and motor neurons, relay or interneurons. So did you understand the whole story? What is the story? Let's understand it again. First of all, I asked that what? The cold tea. Cold. What did cold become? The stimulus. Hand. What did hand become? The receptor, which received the coldness. Now, this signal, this impulse has it to go where? To the central nervous system. Who will take it? Sensory neuron. Where did it reach first? The spinal cord. The spinal cord told the brain, bhai, the tea is cold, what to do? The brain said, do one thing, drop it. So the information went back from here to the brain. The brain said, drop it. From the spinal cord, now the information was sent again to the same hand. But this time this hand become the effector. The same organ can become receptor and effector. Now the information that goes from the central nervous system toward the effector, through which wires will it go? What will we call them? Motor neurons. The neurons it went through are called motor neurons. The ones coming back are motor neurons. And here the wires in the middle, what do we call it? Relay neurons. It went to the effector here. Now what will effector do? Response. What is the response? Drop it by, don't drink the cold tea. Okay. Next is my neuromuscular junction. What is this beta? Listen carefully. We also call it NMJ. NMJ. Neuromuscular junction. Okay. Now look here where this motor neuron came and goes to your effector. It's stuck on it. In this motor neuron and where it goes and gives the signal to the effector. This point of contact is called neuromuscular junction. Are you understanding? What came out of the nervous system? A motor neuron. Where did it go? To the effectors. Here where the motor neurons comes and just touches the effector. Just touches it. This is called neuromuscular junction. So what is it beta? Point of contact between nerve ending of a motor neuron and a muscle. What is this beta? This is a motor neuron. This is our motor neuron. Where did it come from? It must be traveling from the central nervous system. From the central nervous system, where did it come to? A muscle. And this is its axon and this nerve ending. Finally, its nerve ending beta, where it comes and the point of contact happens with the muscles, with the tissue. This point of contact, what do we call it? NMJ, neuromuscular junction. To tell the correct thing, NCERT says that it's actually not a point of contact. It's just a touch. NCERT says there's also a synapse, a gap. Actually, the motor neurons that are bringing the signal from the central nervous system. The last nerve ending of these neurons, this signal came from here, drop the T, drop the T, drop the T. Here when it touched me in the last effector muscle, there's a small gap here too. And the small synapse story here too. But the simple language you can write that this is point of contact. You can even write it just touches. Okay. Next is how do muscles move? Very important. And you will see many people don't teach this concept. And the board asks it too. How do muscle move? Why is this hand moving like this? What is inside? Sir, the brain said. Sir, brain said it. Brain said it, I can understand, but what is that thing? What are humans? We have chemicals inside us. Something must have happened in the chemicals that allows me to move hand like this, place my feet like this, I can dance like this. Something must be inside me. Okay. Animals and humans. A human is also animal. Inside us, there is specialized type of protein. We have a specialized type of protein where it receives an electric impulse. These proteins change their shape. Inside our head, there's inside the hand, lot of specialized proteins are there. When the brain gave them electric impulse saying, "Bhai, drop the cup," these proteins change their shape inside like this, causing my hand to open up like this. Oh. These things happens very fast. This story, have you read? This happens instantly that you drop the cup. All these things happen in microseconds. So it's very fast, beta. Our nervous system is very fast. It's very, very fast. It has advantages and disadvantages, but it's very fast. So beta, inside our muscle, inside our effectors, inside our muscles, what are there? Specialized proteins that keep changing their shape. And when they change their shape, the muscles also have to move. And when do they change their shape? When an electric impulse comes out and tells them, do one thing, clench your fist tight. The specialized protein inside will start taking a shape like that. Say, let go of a cup. I get it. Okay. Muscle cells have specialized proteins that change their shape and arrangement in the cell in response to nervous electric impulse. Did you understand what do we have? Specialized proteins. Plant don't have this. This is only in animals. That is why it isn't important. Plants don't have such specialized protein. We have specialized protein which changes their shape. And why do they change? Because the electric impulse told them to, which causes our muscle to move. So specialized protein change their shape. Remember this. Okay, let's move on. Next, beta, there are two types of action inside our body. Okay, three are written here. Leave the third one for now. Two types of action. One voluntary, one involuntary. A voluntary action is something you do intentionally by yourself. Like I'm speaking here, I'm walking, I might sit somewhere, I might start singing, I might start speaking, I might start hitting. So all these functions, walking, dancing, singing, jumping, are kind of actions, voluntary actions. Action done intentionally. I can do them whenever I want. Whenever I want, I will stop. I won't speak, I'll stop. So beta, what is this? It is controlled by your will. You can control with your will. Do it when you want. Don't do it when you don't want to. Thinking is involved. You think, you understand. I sing very often. I shouldn't sing. You can think. Your brain is involved. The brain says, yes, he wants to sing. Send the signal, let him sing. Like walking, writing, dancing, talking, etc. Jumping, running, everything. Okay. The others are involuntary actions. Involuntary, which will happen whether you want them to or not. Like your heart beating. Now, if I think my heart should stop beating, brain, hey brain, stop my heart from beating. Hey brain, stop the heartbeat. You cannot control it. So, these are uncontrolled by your will. So, you cannot stop your heart from beating. Hey, stop blood pumping. Hey, I want to die. I won't do it. Why? Because it's involuntary. You don't have any control of it. There is no thinking involved in this. You can't do anything by thinking. When we studied biology in the first chapter, what happens when we eat food? Food pipe, esophagus have a peristaltic movement which take the food downward. Now I eat something and think of peristaltic movement should not happen. It shouldn't happen. It will happen because it's involuntary. It's not in my control. No thinking is involved in this. Thinking is not involved. The brain is involved. The brain is constantly working internally, bonding, saying, "I will work together. Don't listen to this person." The brain is still involved, but thinking is not involved. It's not in your control. What are the examples? Blood pumping by the heart, peristalsis, right? Digestion. Now you eat a lot of food and think, digest quickly. I'm thinking, brain, digest quickly. You cannot control it. It's involuntary. Digestion will happen at its own speed. So digestion, blood pumping by the heart, peristaltic movement, all these things are not in your control. These are involuntary actions. Okay, voluntary which you can control. Running, moving, walking, sitting, talking, I can control. Involuntary, which you cannot control, heartbeat, peristaltic movement, food digestion, I cannot control it. It will happen at its own speed. It will happen on its own. No thinking is involved in this, but the brain is involved in both. Okay, a third special kind of action that is asked in exams is the reflex action. Reflex action, beta, doesn't happen all the time. First thing, it happens sometime. For example, you are riding bike or cycle, suddenly dust comes from front and your eyes close down. Did you think that you should close your eye, dust is coming? You didn't think it, beta. You don't think anything. Thinking is not involved. You didn't think anything in this. It happens on its own. This is also an involuntary action, but it's very fast. It's sudden. It's quick. In digestion, sudden. It happens slowly. These involuntary actions are happening slowly. The heart is beating slowly. But reflex action are those involuntary actions that are sudden, quick, and happen to save you from some danger. It won't happen all time. Someone punched you hard like this. You saw it move like this. Did you think? Did you send a signal to the brain? Why punch is coming? What should I do? The brain thought a punch is coming, so move away. Nothing, beta. Because the brain is not involved in this. It's not directly involved. You neither think in this, nor is your brain involved. The spinal cord handles this game alone. This reflex action is handled by the spinal cord, the Home Minister alone. It says it's urgent now. No time to take file up, I will take action myself. So it is a sudden, quick, involuntary action. For example, here's another example, withdrawing a hand from a hot object. Suppose you touch the hot griddle. After touching hot griddle, you pull your hand like this. Is there any time to think? It happened on its own, sudden, quick, involuntary on its own. You don't have any control over this either. It is uncontrolled by will. You are not thinking. This thing is happening on its own. Uncontrolled by will. Involuntary, sudden, quick. The next example, blinking when something comes close to the eye. Sneezing, beta. You went into a dusty place. Dust entered in your nose. What happened? It saved you from danger. All the particles that had entered were thrown by the sneeze. Do you control it saying, by now I should sneeze? No, you should sneeze on your own. So sneezing, withdrawing a hand from a hot object, blinking when something comes close to your eye, these are involuntary action, which happen quickly, suddenly to save you from danger. These are called reflex action. They are not controlled by will, not directly controlled. No thinking is involved. They are done by the spinal cord. These are the reflex action or reflex movements that happen. A reflex action is a sudden, quick and involuntary. Sudden, quick, involuntary movement in which thinking is not involved. Reflex actions are controlled by the spinal cord. The spinal cord, the Home Minister, controls it alone. It helps protect the body by producing a quick reaction. It produces the body with a quick reaction to save from danger. How is it? Sudden, quick, involuntary. Thinking is not involved. Brain is directly not involved, controlled by the spinal cord. Let's look at an example. And watch this carefully. Question comes from where? Suppose एक गर्म चाय की प्याली है, कोई इसको पिलाने वाली है, ting ting ding ding ding, crazy. Make it yourself. You flew away, right? And hey, I wish for a hot cup of tea. I make it yourself. Bhai, do you know how to make it or not? Yes, sir. We make very bad tea. I make good tea. Get good marks in the board. I'll make you a tea for you myself at my home. One who gets 100 marks this time science in the board. Meaning in the board, whoever take the first rank, I will give him the tea. I promise. For rank 1, I will make myself a tea. Come on, even if you score less, I still make it for you. Yes, come back. Now assume it's hot tea. So what is stimulus here? Hot tea is our stimulus. Let's make it a little bigger, zoom in. Yes, hot tea become our stimulus. The receptors become our hand. Right, our hand, organs, our skin. Right, what is there? Thermal receptors. Now, this signal went to the center by hot tea, we have to tell the brain, hot tea, so wo traveled, the sensory neuron, travel, where? Central nervous system. The message came to the spinal cord, they have touched very hot tea, what should we do? The spinal cord said, hey, bye, the matter is big, if we take the file up, it will take a long time, the brain will think, understand, say what happened before, I take that decision right here. So the Home Minister took the decision himself. What did it immediately send back from here? A motor neuron. It sent the impulse back. Where? To your hand. This time the hand become the effector. And what did you give as a response this time? That leave it. Leave it by. This is hot tea. Leave it. This happens very quickly. I explained it for so long. It's not like that. You touch the hot tea like this. The brain was not directly involving this. What happened? You touch the hot tea. Hot tea. Hot tea. What it is? Stimuli. Who caught it? Your hand. What did hand become? Receptor. I mean these cells are the receptor. Where it is sensory neuron. Where it is central nervous system. To whom first? The spinal cord. Will the spinal cord go to the brain? No, no time. It has to save him quickly. The spinal cord took the decision itself. It took the decision itself and sent the signal back through the motor neuron saying, bhai, let go. Where the signal reached? Effector muscles. Again, there is hand. And what response did the effector give? Leave it. And the neurons in between here, beta, what are they really called? Remember that? Say. Enter neurons, relay neurons. The brain is not involved in this, but the spinal cord is a good home minister. Its boss, the prime minister. The brain says, we did it. At least tell him, haven't you do this sometime? When dad is not at home, the bulb fuse inside the house, you put the new bulb. In the evening, waiting for the Baba. Papa, today I fixed the bulb on my own. The spinal cord is similar, beta. It wants praise. What does it do? It does all the work itself. Then it tells the brain, do you know what happened today? Eat as the hot cup. I saved him. Store it in memory. The brain says, very good, very good. You did a great job. I'll store it in memory. Next time something like this happens, I'll ready to take a decision. So it sends a memory packet to the brain that something like this happened. Remember this. That's why we say that the brain is directly not involved but is involved. Why? Because a memory goes to the brain. So if I ask you, what is the way of the reflex action? What is the path? So first what will come? Stimulus. After stimulus, receptor. After receptor, sensory neuron. After sensory neuron, spinal cord. Somewhere inside the spinal cord, relay neurons too. After this, motor neuron. After motor neuron, effector. After effector, response. The brain is not visible on the path. So better this path becomes shorter. The action happened quickly. The complexity of the brain was avoided. This path beta we call the reflex arc. What is reflex arc? That path. What is the reflex arc? That path on which the impulse travels during a reflex action. Path followed by nerve impulse in a reflex action. The path we choose during a reflex action is called the reflex arc. Look at the NCERT diagram here. It's the same thing, simple. What is it? Touch the hot griddle. So what is the stimulus here? Heat or pain? Both by. If it's hot, it can hurt too. Your hands become the receptor. What travel? The sensory neuron travel. Where did it go? Central nervous system. To whom did it give it? The spinal cord. The spinal cord took action and sent to whom? The motor neuron. Travel. Where did it reach? Effector muscles. This is the effector this time. What did it do? It gave a response. And what is the response? To drop the cup. Leave it. That become your response. And look here inside, when you look at the central nervous system, the relay neuron will also be involved inside. The brain will not be involved. What do we call this full path? We say it reflex arc. So reflex arc path, if I want, I can write this. First, what will come? Stimulus will come, like heat is here. After this, receptors will come. Here, this thermoreceptor, general, it's receptor. It can be anything. After this, sensory neuron. After this, where will sensory neuron will go? Spinal cord, and inside it, relay neurons or interneurons. After that, motor neuron will go where? To the effector's muscle. Then from there, it will give a response. So this become our reflex arc. Now, sometimes guys, I'm asked, what is the advantage of the reflex arc? What is the advantage of reflex arc? Why is the reflex arc efficient? Remember, 3 benefit. It's only 1 benefit, but we have to write in 3 points so we can get marks. These things you must know. What is the advantage of reflex arc? First, excited the brain. No thinking or understanding is needed. If the brain is involved, it will think and understand. So the complexity of the brain was completely removed. They skip the brain's complex processing. Brain's complex processing, we cited it, first advantage. Second, instantly happens, allows an instant reaction through the spinal cord. Because of spinal cord, one instant reaction happens. Third, reduces the time of response, reduces the response time significantly. It happens quickly. Remember 3 advantages. First, the brain complexity is not involved. The brain is nowhere a part of reflex arc. What do they go to the brain? They send a signal that by this happened. Father entered home, Papa, today I fix a well, Papa, very good. Message same, brain is not involved. So brain complexity is over, brain is not in decision. Second is instant response. Third is reduces the time of response. Okay. One CBSE 2024 question asked, and it always asks, that reflex arc evolution, why it happened in the animals? We are animals. The reflex arc we used to have, it was not like this. Slowly, it evolved with time. Because humans also developed slowly. First they were monkeys, whatever it is, Darwin stuff. So the reflex arc evolved inside our animals. Why? To save us from the danger. To remove the complexity of the brain. To reduce the time. This is the same answer. To reduce the time. That is why a reflex arc evolved over time. Earlier there was no such reflex arc. It's slowly evolving so that we can be safe from the danger. We are slowly adapting. So write those 3 points. Why did the reflex arc evolve? These are the same 3 points. The response has to be given to what? To harmful stimuli. A survival advantage will be gained. Skips the brain complex processing. So definitely remember the survival advantage. Be sure to write this. By what is the biggest purpose of our life? To survive, to stay alive. Only then life will continue. Most important thing is to stay alive. So survival advantage is gained as a reflex arc is slowly modified. This is what is asked. Reflex arc are evolved in animals. It evolved in the animals. Why? So they can be protected from the harmful things. Give them survival advantage. How it will give? Reduce the complexity of brain. Instant reaction gives. Reduces response time. Look, a similar question came in CBSE 24. It's very simple. Ravi accidentally touched a hot pen. Now he gave a rapid response. What is the correct sequence of events? So what will happen first? Stimulus, heat, then thermoreceptors, muscles, then sensory neurons. Then what will happen? Spinal cord, including the interneurons, then motor neuron. Then what will happen? Effector. Then what will happen? Response. Simple. Okay, next. Next is define reflex action. Sudden, quick, involuntary. Define reflex, sudden, quick, involuntary reaction to save you from any harmful situation. It's an involuntary reaction. Thinking is not involved. Simple. A reflex or it happens due to the spinal cord. Just write this much. A reflex action is a sudden, quick, involuntary movement in which thinking is not involved. Reflex action are controlled by the spinal cord. It helps protect the body by producing a quick response. Explain why reflex arc is considered more efficient. Why is the reflex arc more efficient? Write those 3 points. The complex processing of the brain is reduced. Instant reaction reduces response time. Let's move on. Next beta, we came to main part of the central nervous system, the brain. Control center. We call the brain control center. If anyone asks in the exam who the control center is, the control center is the brain. Who is the prime minister? The brain. Now we have to study the brain properly and read the function of its different parts. If we divide our brain, there are mainly 3 major portions. One is called the forebrain. This is the frontmost forebrain. This entire area you see. This entire area you see. This area is called the forebrain. This area you can see. This area is your forebrain. This whole is your forebrain. The frontmost part. What is it? The forebrain, which you can see. After the forebrain comes the middle part of the brain, which we'll simply call the midbrain. Here is the midbrain. This area is called the midbrain. This becomes our midbrain. And then comes our hindbrain, meaning the back. So the backmost part is the hindbrain. So at the top, the frontmost forebrain. What's in the middle? Midbrain. What's at the end? Hindbrain. And to the last hindbrain, who will connect? The tail, meaning the spinal cord. The actions I'm showing won't be exact. It's very complex. Understand it roughly. Okay. So what's at the top? Forebrain. Fore means front. After that, midbrain. And after the midbrain, finally, this whole part you see. This whole part you see at the end. This is your hindbrain, meaning the back brain. Okay. Now we have to understand the function of different parts. First thing we are going to study is the forebrain. Okay. So the forebrain is the front part. Better understand that everything you do by thinking and understanding is done by the forebrain. All the things you do. Thinking, such thinking, right? What? Forebrain. We are using the front brain. Speaking, decision, walking, dancing, all the voluntary actions you do, your forebrain makes you do them. So the forebrain part, main thinking part of the brain, thinking part, decision making, interpretation, who does all this? Forebrain. Consists mainly of cerebrum and hypothalamus. Actually, it has 3 parts. NCERT doesn't mention it. It has the cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. NCERT mentions only 2, cerebrum and hypothalamus. Cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. If we don't give thalamus, we don't study it either. Cerebrum and hypothalamus. Okay. What is cerebrum, beta? It's the main thinking part of the body. Where is the cerebrum? This area. This area is called cerebrum. Beta, don't make an exact location in the exam, because these are very complex structure. This part you can say what is it? This part of your forebrain is the cerebrum. This part is cerebrum. Okay. Well, the forebrain is also the largest part of the brain. It's visible. It's the largest part of the entire brain. Largest part of the brain is forebrain. This is written. Write it down. Suppose the exam asks what is the largest part of the brain is. So the largest part of the brain is forebrain. Okay. Good. It contains the cerebrum and hypothalamus. Here's the cerebrum. What are the main functions of cerebrum? Everything you are reading about it, all the cerebrum. That you thought, you did interpretation, you walked, you spoke, you fought, you walked, you hit, whatever you did, beta, all these things. So hearing, listening, memory, reasoning, Speech, emotions, interpretation, crying, it's bringing emotions. Who's bringing it? If we think only then emotion comes. Oh, say love, go man, I'm not crying. Nowadays there are sad songs. Boys put sad songs and cry. Lambi judai. The cerebrum brings it. All voluntary actions, who controls them? The cerebrum or the forebrain. What is the second part? One is the cerebrum, one is the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus beta is here. Some part of the forebrain is also in this area. You saw it here. Have you seen it where? This part is my hypothalamus. Hypothalamus. Hypothalamus sounds better like thermos. What's in a thermos? Water and hot food. So what does it do? It controls hunger and thirst. If someone asks you a function of hypothalamus, what will you say? Controlling hunger and thirst. Thermos, what came to here from hypothalamus? Thermos. And what is thermos? Flask or tea, water and food items. So controls thirst and hunger. The second major function of hypothalamus beta, when you come to that other system. Remember, coordination in animals and two systems. One is whole nervous system, the other is endocrine one. This also plays a role of some hormones. The hypothalamus will be important there when we talk about hormones. It's more important there. What does it do here? It controls hunger and thirst. So this became my forebrain, which is the largest part, controlling thinking, understanding, walking, speaking, hearing, singing. All these things it will control. Reasoning it will control. Cerebrum and hypothalamus, what will it do? Just controlling eating and drinking. Hunger and thirst. The second part is my midbrain. Here, small midbrain. It is small as its work. The work of the midbrain is simple, to connect on the back to connect the hindbrain. That's all. A question about midbrain never comes in the exam. So what is the work of the midbrain? Connects fore and hindbrain. One more thing is written. What is it? Controls some involuntary functions. Listen carefully. All the voluntary function will be done by the forebrain. All the involuntary ones which you don't control are done by the hindbrain. All the things you control by will, the ones you don't control, hindbrain. This is not entirely correct. Whatever I say, beta, won't be entirely correct. It's very complex stuff. We are understanding this according to 10th standard. Not entirely correct, but correct for your exam. So remember, whatever there's talk about voluntary action, the answer will be forebrain. For involuntary action, it will be hindbrain. And what does the midbrain do? It connects the two. And it does the involuntary actions with the help of hindbrain. These control some involuntary actions are with the hindbrain. They do it together. It can't do this alone. Okay, so just remember one function for it. Connects fore and hindbrain. Now we have come to hindbrain, meaning the back brain. We came to last part, hindbrain. The hindbrain beta is divided into three parts. Divided into three things. First, you see this swollen part. You see this swollen part. Yes. Yes, you can see this swollen part first. This swollen part beta, what do we call it? This swollen part is called the pons. After this, the part you see below is called, this is called medulla. After this, you will see a cauliflower-like structure here. Do you see this cauliflower? You see this cauliflower? This cauliflower beta we call cerebellum. There are three things inside it. PMC, pons. Oh goodness, what is corrected? There are three things inside it. What? Pons, medulla, and cerebellum. The hindbrain has three things. What are they? Pons, medulla, and cerebellum. We will understand all three functions. Where are the pons? These are the upper pons. Where are your pons? These the upper ones are pons, the part that looks raised here. This area is pons, this is medulla, and this is cerebellum. First, let's understand the pons. What do pons do? What do pons do? What things do pons do? What does pons do? The pons regulates breathing and sleep cycle. It regulates two things. One, regulating your breathing, and second, regulating your sleeping pattern. How are the both functions? Involuntary. So it regulates rate of breathing and sleep cycle. Okay. The second is medulla. Now what does medulla control? All involuntary functions. There is the medulla, this part. This part is the medulla. What does the medulla do? Look how to remember it. Medulla reminds you of medu vada. Medu vada is something to it. Saying something to it makes your mouth water, meaning salivation. So what does the medulla control? Salivation. Now when you eat a medu vada, you will eat so much cholesterol. What will happen? There will be some problem with your heartbeat. So it controls the heartbeat. The medulla controls it. I said it wrong, heartbeat. Okay, now when the heartbeat is controlled like this or increases, what will happen? The blood flow will change. So it controls your blood flow. Blood flow. Okay. Now if you eat too much medu vada, you will vomit. So there will be vomit. Look, all the 4 functions. Remember this with your story. Medulla, medu vada. First, what happened? Mouth water upon seeing it, salivation. Second, as soon as you ate it, what increased? Heartbeat. What the heartbeat increased does? Blood flow. Then what happened? Ate so much, vomiting. All 4 things are involuntary. Salivation is involuntary. Vomiting is involuntary. You don't want it. It happens on its own. Some people force themselves to do it, but generally it's involuntary. Your heartbeat is involuntary. Your blood pumping is involuntary. Who does all these functions? The medulla. Controls involuntary actions like blood pressure, heartbeat, salivation and vomiting. The last is cerebellum. The cerebellum, this cauliflower you see. This cauliflower things you see in the end, also part of hindbrain. Cerebellum. You see a word in it, bell. Bell brings balance. Its work is BP square. What is the work of cerebellum? BP square. To maintain balance, riding a cycle, keep balance. Riding a scooter, maintain balance. Riding a bike, maintain balance. Running, maintain balance. To work with precision, P. To work with precision. Precision means, suppose we said we need to pick a pencil. The brain thought need to pick a pencil. Which part thought? The cerebrum. The cerebrum. This part. Cerebrum. Forebrain. It does thinking work. It says pick the pencil. Cerebrum says pick pencil. Now we are not able to pick the pencil like this. Grip is not forming. Why? Because there is no precision. Who gives the precision? Cerebellum. So we can pick the pencil. Okay. One is balance. One is precision. One is to maintain the posture. Bhai, we are walking. We can walk like this too. Who made the decision to walk? The forebrain did. The cerebrum did. He's walking. Now we are walking like. What will the cerebellum do? It will bring you into the straight posture. So BP square. Balance, the bell is cerebellum, reminds you of balance. BP square. Maintaining balance, maintaining posture, and work with precision. Riding a bicycle, picking a pencil, etc. etc. So beta, these all are the function of different parts of your brain. Now you will have to memorize this: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Forebrain, all the voluntary actions, thinking, blinking, walking, talking, singing, speech, memory, decision making, interpretation, etc. etc. Who is doing it? Cerebrum. After there is one more thing, the forebrain, the hypothalamus. Thalamus to thermos. Thermos means food and drink, meaning it controls hunger and thirst. The rest of hypothalamus work as with hormones and so on. After this comes a midbrain, which connects the forebrain or hindbrain. Hindbrain, all involuntary functions. 3 parts: pons, medulla, cerebellum. Pons, PMC. PMC. Pons, medulla, cerebellum. Remember it is as PCM, physics, chemistry, maths. Pons, medulla, cerebellum. The one that is raised here, the pons, your medulla, and this cauliflower is cerebellum. What is the work of pons? Rate of breathing and sleep cycle. Medulla, from medu vada, words, salivation, vomiting, blood pressure, heartbeat, all these things. And finally, the cerebellum, bell to balance, and BP square, posture and precision. Is everything clear? Let's go. Now one thing is, how is our brain protected? This question comes in the exam. How are brain and spinal cord protected? You have to remember 3 things. First, the brain is protected. What's around it? Bone. So we call this, what do we call it? Cranium. Cranium, the bone that protects the brain. This whole part of the skull. The skull is the whole thing here. The skull includes the front face too. This part of the skull that protects the brain, the bone that protects the brain, this whole part of the skull. This part of the skull, what do we call it? We call it cranium. So first, there's a bony box. The cranium is something also called bony box. So there is a bony box of what? Bony box of skull, which we call the cranium. So bones protected. If someone hits you, it will hit the bone. After this, there are also layers of 3 membranes. This is called meninges. This is not your NCERT, but you still written it down. Then what? There are layers of 3 membranes. When you look inside, you will see layers of 3 membranes. 1, 2, 3. Look, this is zoomed in. 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 layers of membrane, meninges, right? 3 membranes layer, meninges. And what is the third thing? A fluid is filled inside it. Cerebrospinal fluid. Remember it? CSF. CSF soldiers. What does soldiers do? Protect us. CSF soldiers. So, CSF. Cerebrospinal fluid. What does it do, beta? Suppose something is filled with water or fluid. Some balloon is filled with fluid. If you hit it like this, then what will happen? The fluid will absorb all the shock. The water will take the shock, and a little of it will reach your brain. So, the reduced shock. So, what do they do? To absorb any shock. Look carefully here. What is on the outside? The cranium. Inside it, the blue water you see. What is it? Cerebrospinal fluid. And this blue water you see, if you zoom in, look, this is cerebrospinal fluid. This is N fluid. Around it, there are 3 layers. Above 1, 2 above, and 1 below. These are called the 3 layers. What are these? Your 3 membranes, meninges. Okay. Clear? So remember 3 things. One is what? The cranium. How to remember cranium? Remember cranial nerves. Where did they come from? The brain. So what is your cranium? Your part of your skull. Not your face, only skull. Body box first is this. Second one is three membranes, the meninges. What is the third thing? A fluid is filled inside, like a balloon. Inside a balloon, fluid is filled. CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. If I talk about who's protecting the spinal cord, so the spinal cord is first protected by bones. Which bones is inside? I told you, the backbone or vertebral column. So look, the spinal cord is going. What is it inside? Look, what do you see from the side? Bones. So this is vertebral column. The spinal cord is inside this hollow tube. So first, who's protecting it? The vertebral column or backbone. Second, inside it too, there are three layers, three membrane layer, which were called the meninges. The third thing, the same fluid inside to cerebrospinal fluid to absorb any shock. So remember these three things. 2023-20, explaining how the brain and spinal cord are protected from shocks and injuries. So these 3 points will write. In the brain, cranium will come, inside the spinal cord, vertebral column. Other two things are same, three membrane meninges, cerebrospinal fluid there too, cerebrospinal fluid there too, protects from any shock. Next, beta, understand one thing. If you take your brain, your gray matter and cut it from the middle. Took this gray matter and cut it from the middle. When you cut it, left hemisphere, right hemisphere. What is brain? It's like a hemisphere. Half of the sphere is called hemi. Hemi means half. Right hemisphere and left hemisphere, when you watch it carefully, whatever connects it, some tissues are there, some nerves are there, whom we call it corpus callosum. That's all I had to tell you. Simple. You cut your brain from the middle. So look here, you can see some tissues, some nerves. There are some tissues or nerves. What do we call these tissues? Corpus callosum. The right hemisphere, half sphere, and left hemisphere of the brain are connected by the bundle of nerve fibers called corpus callosum. CBSE 2025 question. Which among the following is not a neural action controlled by the part of the human brain labeled X in the figure below? Pause and tell the answer. If you studied well, you will able to do it. If it's not happening, then go back and revise the brain diagram again. Revise all the functions. I will have to make you take an oath. You are sworn by the one you see every day at school. Hit you will see. If you don't do it, they should meet your best friend. Hey, go now, memorize it. Yes. Then you will comment after pausing, then I will pause it. Then, okay, it's asking, this is X. This X part is, which function is not his? If I look carefully, it looks like the part of the lower brain, the hind brain. Here was the pons, below it was the medulla. The medulla controls all the involuntary actions. And if I remember, there only are 4 functions: salivation, then vomiting, and what else? Heartbeat and blood pressure. So salivation is correct, vomiting is correct, blood pressure is correct. Hunger, who does the hunger? Hunger and thirst, thermus, hypothalamus. So this is wrong. Okay, let's move on. 2025, 24, 23, 20. Multiple times they are asking bunches of different parts of the brain. Which part of the brain is responsible? Which part of the brain is responsible for following function? Thinking. So who does the thinking? The forebrain. So you can write the cerebrum. Cerebrum. If you want, you can write forebrain in bracket too. Next is picking up a pencil. Picking up a pencil, work of precision. Who is doing the precision? The cerebellum. The cerebellum. Remember its work. BP square. Balance, precision and posture. Controlling blood pressure. This is an involuntary function. Who controls blood pressure? The medulla. Who will do it? The medulla. Controlling hunger. The work of hunger. Hunger and thirst. Who had it? The hypothalamus. Oh, by there were options. So cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla, hypothalamus. So these are 4 options. These are 4. The first one is correct. Cerebellum, cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla, hypothalamus. Look, medulla is also called the medulla oblongata. So that's its name too. Don't worry. Okay, let's move on. Next, CBSE 23-20. What is asking? Which part of the brain? It's asking the function of the different parts. Maintaining posture and balance. So BP square. Who is this? Hypothalamus. Sorry. Who is this? Cerebellum. Very sorry. Balance, cerebellum. It must be written below. Yes. Controlling heartbeat. Who controls the heartbeat? The medulla. Then what? Enable thinking. Who does thinking? Cerebrum, forebrain. Then regulating blood pressure. Who is this? Medulla oblongata. Next comes the endocrine system. So in the beginning, we saw that coordination happens in 2 ways. One is the whole nervous system, brain, spinal cord, nerves. We read it all. The second was the endocrine system, which release some hormones, some chemicals. So now we will study endocrine system. There's not much to understand here. Especially you have to learn only here. Okay. Now what is endocrine system? In our body, there is a lot of endocrine glands are there that release hormones. This entire system is called endocrine system. What? Endocrine glands that release hormones. Now the question is, sir, what is gland? Remember in previous chapter you have studied during digestion there are, in the mouth there is salivary glands which release what? Saliva. So beta, such tissues such cells, such organs that release some substance. We call them glands. For example, what do salivary glands release? Saliva. For example, inside the stomach, remember, what was there? Gastric gland. What do it release? It releases gastric juice. So beta, such organs, cells or tissue that produce some substance, release some substance. Those are called glands. Now, not all glands release hormones. The glands that release hormones are called endocrine glands. And what whole system is called? Endocrine system. Network of endocrine glands that produces and releases hormones. Now the question is, what are hormones, beta? Just like we read the signal was going, the message was going through an electric impulse. Similarly, this is a second way to send message, the chemical method, hormones. What are hormones? They are some chemicals that travels around the body carrying message. And where do they come from? They come from endocrine gland. Remember one term for hormones. Hormones are chemical substances that act like messenger molecules. What do we call hormones, beta? Messenger molecules that they carry message from the gland to different parts of body. They are chemicals, okay? Now we have to study some glands. Now look carefully, why are there two diagrams? Because the male reproductive organs and female reproductive organs will be different. The other glands will be the same. Reproductive ones will be needed to look separately. Let's start from the top. As I tell you, keep memorizing them one by one. First, we will study the pituitary gland. Where is the pituitary gland located? It is in our brain. Where in the brain? Just at the bottom of hypothalamus. Where it is located? Where is it located? This. Where is it located? Bottom of the hypothalamus. Pituitary glands we also call the master glands also. Like we are master. Why do we call it master gland? Because pituitary gland release so many hormones that go and tell other glands, hey, you release hormones too. Hey, you release hormones too. So what is this? Master of the other glands. That's why it is called master glands. Like this, it releases hormones. We tell the other glands also that you should release hormones. Its most important hormone is the growth hormone. Now, since it's releasing growth hormone, what will it work be? To cause growth, to cause development. Okay, so the most important hormone is the growth hormone. What is its work? Growth and development of body. There must be one boy or girl in your class who is very tall. You said it's like a giraffe. What happened? Too much growth hormone came inside. So when there is an excess of growth hormone, we call it giantism. That he looks like a giant, tall and broad. And if there is a deficiency of growth hormone, suppose someone not received hormones, so you must have that friend. Tell their name in the comments whose height is not increasing, they remain short. So what we call it? Dwarfism. He is not that, God forbid. And if he does also, then okay, everyone is fine. Okay. So dwarfism is when there is a deficiency of growth hormone. Gigantism is there is an excess. So deficiency of growth hormone, dwarfism. Excess of growth hormone, gigantism. So our first one is pituitary gland. Where is it? At the bottom of the hypothalamus. The next gland we need to look at, beta, is our thyroid gland. Here is this thyroid gland. Where is the thyroid gland located? On the neck is visible. Just below our voice box. We also call the voice box the larynx. So where is it located? Below larynx in the front of the neck. Which hormone does the thyroid gland release? From thyroid, the thyroxine hormone. Which one does it release? The thyroxine hormone. What is the work of thyroxine hormone? Remember, in the last chapter of the previous chapter on digestion, there were three things formed. Remember, FCP, fat, carbohydrate, protein, FCP. So what does the thyroxine hormone do? It regulates the metabolism of FCP, meaning fat, carbohydrate and protein. Regulates carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism. So whose metabolism is it regulating? FCP. Now listen to an interesting thing. What does thyroid gland release? Thyroxine. But to make the thyroxine, the thyroid glands needs iodine. Only if it gets iodine will the thyroxine will be made. Sometimes there is an iodine deficiency. How do you get iodine? You get it in food. It's a chemical. You get in salts. Sometimes there is an iodine deficiency. If there is a deficiency, so thyroxine won't be produced. When this happens, beta, disease occurs which we call goiter. What happens in goiter? There is swelling in the neck. Now, if you want to avoid goiter, what should be there? Iodine should be there. If there is iodine, thyroxine will be released. So how will you get iodine? You will get in food, eat salt that has iodine. So this is what is written. Yes, iodine required for synthesis of thyroxine. Iodine will be needed. Deficiency of iodine causes goiter. What is the symptom of goiter? Swollen neck. What is the precaution? Iodized salt and dye. Eat iodized salt in your diet, which has iodine, you will get iodine, thyroxine will be made. If it is made, then coital will not form. The next gland we need to study is a pancreas. Pancreas, here are pancreas. Sorry, very sorry. Here is the pancreas. Very sorry. Pancreas. You also studied the pancreas in the previous chapter. It releases pancreatic juice. It is a gland. But then we didn't call it an endocrine gland because pancreatic juice was not a hormone. The pancreas also releases a hormone which we call insulin. Where is the pancreas, beta? In this area. Where? In the upper abdomen, behind the stomach. Remember the location? The board asked it. In the upper abdomen, behind the stomach. What is found? The pancreas. Can you see the strange shape? This is the pancreas. The pancreas, beta, release pancreatic juice, which is not a hormone. Here, what did it release? Insulin. Now, you might know a little about the work of insulin. What does insulin do? If there is too much sugar, too much glucose in our blood, it reduces it. Lower the blood sugar, lower the glucose in the blood. This is the work of insulin. You must have seen many people whose body doesn't produce insulin. So those whose body doesn't produce insulin, their blood sugar goes high. What do we call them? Diabetes. They say, "Bhai, don't eat sweet. You have diabetes." Oh, the grandma, don't eat salt. You have diabetes. Diabetes means the pancreas has stopped making insulin or reduce it. So they can't reduce the blood sugar. There is too much sugar in the blood and they shouldn't eat more. So if insulin is not made, a disease occurs. Which one? Diabetes. Okay. Deficiency of insulin causes diabetes. And what is the work of insulin? Regulates blood sugar levels. You ate food, there was glucose, sugar in the food. Suddenly the sugar in the blood increased. So what does the pancreas do? It releases insulin, which reduces the blood sugar. Those whose bodies has this problem that insulin is not being made, what do? They take an insulin injection. You must have seen diabetic patients taking an insulin injection. The blood sugar level in the blood was high. Insulin went in, it brought the sugar down. Okay. Okay. Next, beta, we will see a very interesting gland coming up, that is adrenal gland. Where is it located? Just above the kidney. Here it is. And look carefully, it has adrenal glands, beta. They are in a pair. Glands in a pair. Where is it located? Above the kidneys. Remember the location. Where is it? Above the kidneys. Adrenal gland. Hearing the name, does something come to mind? You must have heard many times. We are having adrenaline rush. So what does it produce? The adrenal hormones, or call it adrenal hormone. My pronunciation doesn't come out right for some word. The adrenaline hormone, or call it adrenal hormone, secretes adrenaline, which we also call the emergency hormone. This hormone, beta, is released only in emergency situation. The adrenaline hormone. Don't just say they had adrenaline rush. Yes, when it released in the emergency. Suppose, bhai, you are fighting in school, fighting with a boy. Suddenly 12 of his friends came. Now, bhai, what to do? It became an emergency. In such a case, when there is an emergency, 12 guys are in front, what does our adrenal gland do? It releases adrenaline hormones. We also call this flight and fight hormone. Flight or fight hormone. No, flight and flight, or it's written and it's wrong. Flight or fight hormones. Why? Flight means either run away. Fight means either fight. So either fight or run away. 12 guys in front, either you fight or run away. So flight and fight hormone, both cases are and what, beta? Both cases are emergency. Either you have to run, you have to fight. Now because of this, some changes happen inside the body. The exam asks about these changes a lot. They are important. So you have to remember those changes. What changes does it make? Suppose 12 guys came in front, you have to run. You made the decision to run. So when you run, you will run. What you will need, beta? You will need a lot of energy. So what does it do? It increases your heartbeat. What happened when the heartbeat increased? Lots of oxygen started going into your blood. The oxygen supply speed up, heartbeat increased, oxygen is going fast. So all your cells are getting good oxygen. They are getting good oxygen, they are getting good energy. So you can run faster. So the first thing is increases heartbeat, more supply of oxygen to muscles. Your muscles are getting more oxygen, you can run. Second thing it does is increases blood supply to skeleton muscles. Meaning it increases blood supply to the muscles attached to it, the skeleton, because the skeleton muscles are urgently needed right now. Increase blood to skeletal muscles. The third thing it does is it says it's an emergency time, no useless work. Stop digestion. Stop temperature control now. It will tell the skin, I won't give you blood now. It will tell the stomach, I won't give you blood now. Digestion came, will he digest food? He will die. The 12 guys will kill him. Run away from here. So what does it do? It stops the non-emergency work. So it stops the blood supply to digestive system, to skin. It doesn't stop, it reduces it. So what it is? Blood to the digestive system and skin is reduced. digestive system, skin, maintaining temperature, all the useless work is not needed now. The fourth thing beta it does is it increases your rate of breathing. You must have seen when guys in front, why is rate of breathing increasing? So we can get more oxygen. More oxygen means more energy, so we can run easily. So rate of breathing increase. So remember four things. It increases the heartbeat. So there is more oxygen in the blood. More oxygen reaches the muscle and you can run. It sends the more blood to the skeleton muscle. Again, it's about energy. Stop the unnecessary work. Digestion, blood supply is reduced. In the skin, it's reduced. Rate of breathing increased to get the more oxygen. So these are its function. Now, two of my glands beta are related to our sexual reproductive organs. For example, first gland is testes. This is found in males. Here are the testes. There are two testes. Boys must know, girls must know. What do they release? They release testosterone. What is the work of testosterone? They develop secondary male characteristics. That develop secondary sexual male characteristics such as the deepening of your voice. When you were in child, what does it say? Dad, I have to go to school. Ma'am asked for this. Dad, when you grow up, aap to go to school. Dad says, what happened? Testosterone, hormones have come. These hormones come during puberty. And what do? They give secondary male characteristics. When you were a child, you didn't have so much hair on the body. As you grow up, they see hair coming on their body everywhere. Hair on the chest came, hair under the armpit came, hair there too came. So this is happening because of the testosterone hormone. If you look at its counterpart, the gland inside females is the ovary. What was it? Ovary. Now, what does the ovary release? Estrogen. What does it release? Estrogen it release. What does it do? It gives the secondary sexual characteristics. It gives the secondary female characteristics. For example, the start of the menstrual cycles. For example, changes began to appear in the mammary gland, meaning the breast. So they change the sexual characteristics where the estrogen hormones released from the ovary and their testosterone is released from the testes. Okay. There is one more gland we need to study that I have said for the last, that is hypothalamus. Remember where it was? It was part of forebrain. I told you. What was one of its job? Hypothalamus. What is thermos? Food, water, meaning control over food and hunger. That is to control hunger and thirst. That was first. The second, its chemical function. This, my child, is the grandfather of the glands. If the pituitary glands is the master, then hypothalamus is the grandfather. Because it releases, that goes and tells the pituitary gland, you release growth hormone. So the hypothalamus is the grandfather of all glands. It releases a hormone that tells the pituitary glands to release growth hormone. So it releases growth hormone, releasing hormone. The hormone that releases growth hormone, GHRH, growth hormone releasing hormone, stimulates pituitary gland to release growth hormone. This is its most important hormone. The hypothalamus releases many other hormones. So we'll have to memorize all these glands and their hormones. So pause and memorize it once, then we will revise. Pause it. Should I swear again? Will I have to? Mom promise. Sir, you can't end me. Come on, let's revise it. So there is the gland, here is the hormone, here is its function, and here is the related disease. First, what does the hypothalamus release? Get ready with me. Not a big one these days. GHRH, growth hormone releasing hormone. Okay, what is its function? Stimulates pituitary gland to release hormone. No diseases attached to this one. Next, the pituitary gland, what does it release? Growth hormone. What is its main job? Growth and development. Too much released, gigantism. Too little released, dwarfism. Next, the thyroid gland, where is it? Below the larynx. What does it release? Thyroxine. What is its main job? Its metabolism of what? FCP. It's certain carbohydrates, proteins, fats, FCP. Iodine is required for its formation. If there is deficiency of iodine, what happens? Goiter, swelling of the neck. What is the solution? The solution is to eat iodized salt. This condition is called hypothyroidism. Hypo means low, thyroid means thyroxine hormones is not being produced. Next is the pancreas. Beta, what does the pancreas secrete? Takes out the insulin. What is its job? It's regulate the blood sugar. If there is deficiency in insulin, people take external injection. Where disease occurs? Diabetes occurs. Next, what do we have? The adrenal gland. Where is it located? Above the kidney. What does it release? Adrenaline hormone, the emergency hormone, the flight or fight hormone. The it had 4 functions. You remember it? To prepare the body to cope with the emergency situation. No disease associated with it. Then the testes and ovaries. Testosterone from testes, estrogen from the ovaries. The job of the both is secondary sexual characteristics. Here it means your voice getting deeper, growing a beard, growing a hair, right? And what was here? Mammary glands, menstrual cycle and sex organs. Now beta, there is a mechanism by which how much hormone to secrete and when to secrete it controlled. Suppose beta, you haven't eaten food and the pancreas is releasing insulin, heavily releasing it. There is no sugar in the blood. and whatever little sugar is needed in the blood won't even be left, it will lower everything. So beta, there is a body mechanism called feedback mechanism. Which mechanism? Remember, the board asked about the feedback mechanism. What does it do? It regulates the timing and amount of hormone. How much should it release? It regulates. What does it do? The timing and amount of hormones released are regulated by feedback mechanism. Look at an example of this. What things? The timing and amount, at what time and how much hormone to secrete. This is regulated by feedback mechanism. If you have to write an example, you will write this. Suppose you have eaten food and there is more glucose on your blood and sugar is more in the blood. At this time, a lot of insulin will be released. So at this time, a lot of insulin will be released, lots of amount of insulin. Suppose you are not eating, there is no sugar in the blood, then at this time, a very small amount of insulin will be released. So what happened? Blood sugar level increased, pancreas produces more insulin. Blood sugar level decreased, insulin secretion is reduced. Is that clear, bhai? Now you memorize this. You are making a swear on your beloved this time. Then you will go to strength. Come on, bhai. Let's do a question. CBSE 2025, 24, 23, 20. Such multiple time questions like this have been appeared. Which gland secretes thyroxine? So it asks who is producing this, who is releasing those hormones, all this. And what is its main function? Who secretes thyroxine beta? Thyroid gland. What is the main function? Metabolism. So thyroid gland regulates metabolism of FCP. Done. Come on, let's move on. Next, CBSE 25, 23, 20, 17, 16. Oh my God, how many times has this similar question come up? Write the role of insulin in regulating blood sugar level. What is the role of insulin? What does it do? It lowers the blood sugar level. That's its role. And the human body, mention the disease caused due to it. If there is deficiency of insulin, what will happen? The blood sugar level will remain high. What was happened? Diabetes has happened. Okay, read this. Insulin helps in lowering the blood sugar, that is glucose level. After a meal, glucose levels in the blood rise. Insulin enables body cells to absorb glucose from the blood and use it for energy or store it as glycogen. Remember, animals store their food as glycogen. We read in the first chapter. What does insulin do? It absorbs the blood sugar. It means it tells the cell to absorb blood sugar and make energy from it. If the body does not produces enough insulin, it leads to a condition known as diabetes, sugar increased. We say sugar ho gaya or diabetes has occurred. The amount and timing of insulin. What's the next question? How is the timing and amount of insulin in the blood regulated? Feedback mechanism. Right, that's what I explained. If the sugar level is high, glucose is high, then more insulin, less sugar, less glucose, then less insulin. Okay, next. CBSE 24, 23, 20. Similar question. What hormones is secreted by adrenal gland? Which one? Adrenaline hormone. During a stressful situation, what are the three responses? So you mentioned the three responses. Increases heart, so the more oxygen goes. Increase blood supply to skeleton muscles. Decrease blood supply to digestive system and skin. That's three. The same question is asked again in 25. Hormone excess is secreted in blood when a person is under a scary situation. Scary means emergency. Which is an emergency? Adrenaline hormone, flight or fight hormone. These are things to remember, beta. 24, 23, 20. The question is being asked very often. Where is thyroid gland located in the human body? I told you. They ask location. Where is thyroid gland? Front of the neck, below larynx. Next, name the hormone secreted by thyroid gland, thyroxine, and explain its function. What is the main function of thyroxine? What is it? Thyroid gland secretes hormone thyroxine, which regulates carbohydrate FCP. What does it do? It regulates metabolism of fat, carbohydrate and protein. What is hypothyroidism? Hypothyroidism means, hypo means less, meaning thyroxine has decreased. What does it happen? Because of iodine deficiency. How it can be managed? Add iodized salt in your diet. What dietary changes can help regulate TSH level? What dietary change should you make? Include iodine rich salt in your diet. Okay, come on. This is important. It was asked in CBSE 2025. It's an important question. Now you studied two systems. One is the nervous system and one is the endocrine system. The nervous system deals with electrical impulse. The endocrine system deals with hormones and chemicals. Both send messages. Which one is better? The exam asks this. So remember, if I ask the better, actually the endocrine system is considered better, which we study less. So what are the disadvantage and what are the advantage? Read this. Actually both have their own use, but the exam generally asks. State two limitations of electrical impulse in multicellular organism. Electrical impulse is meaning the nervous system. State two limitations of impulse. Pay attention. Be careful. First limitation is its limited range. What thing? Limited range. The limitation of electric impulse is a very limited range. By your electrical impulse will only reach to those cells that are touching the neurons or are connected to the neuron. If a cell is not touching a neuron, not in contact with a neuron, the electric impulse cannot reach there. Limited range. Electric signals can only reach to cells connected to the nervous system. They cannot reach every cell in the body. They cannot reach every cell in the body. Cannot reach every cell in the body. Whereas in the endocrine system, when chemicals are released, where do they go? They go in the blood. And through the blood, they reach all cells of the body. So here there is a limited range. They can only reach to those cells that are touching the neuron, connected to the neuron, connected to the nervous system, cannot reach to all cells. The second important disadvantage, limitation, this part is generally skipped by people. NCERT provides it. But the second important disadvantage is reset time. What thing? Reset time. Suppose the brain sent a signal. Now it immediately told to send the signal. So what does it have to do? The current came out from here, press the signal like this. Oh, current is going. It now says second signal. Oh no, I can't send it. First the signal should reach, the machine reset, then I'll send the second signal. So what happens? Frequency of the signal cannot be that fast. Reset time. After a neuron transmits an electric, look, the signal will go fast. The signal won't be slow. The frequency, one signal after another, that will be slow. After a neuron transmits an electric impulse, it needs a period to reset its mechanism. It has to fully reset, correct the whole thing, the press again, before it can transmit another signal. This delay limits the frequency and rate of signal. The signal is very fast. Remember that this is very fast mechanism, electric impulse. But the frequency is low. One fast signal went, then before sending the next one, there's reset time. So two things, limited range, doesn't reach all cells, and second, reset time. The frequency of the signal is not that fast. Now, what are the advantages? Why is the chemical communication better? Why is this endocrine system hormone signaling better? First thing, wider range. What are these? These hormones are chemicals. They dissolve in chemical. They reach every cell in the body. Wider range. Chemical signals like hormones can diffuse through the bloodstream and reach all cells of the body. And where do this reach? Only reach to cells connected to the nervous system. The second advantage is that it is slow but has a long lasting effect. This is fast. It happens quickly. This is slow but long lasting. Its effect remains for a long time. Like growth hormone. By growth can't happen by electric impulse. We think we should grow taller. Send a signal, grow taller. Not happening, right? It is fast, quickly not growing taller, right? You can grow taller like this, but not naturally. So your growth is done, your metabolism is done. Processes like this, which are like what? Lasting effect, long lasting effects. These are slow but long lasting. Who can do these things? Only hormones can do it, chemical signals. Second is target specificity. Specificity meaning specificity means the ability to target a specific organ. Chemical signals are highly specific and can act on particular receptors on target cells. So remember, any 2 or 3 from this. It hasn't specified how many to set. Okay. Next beta, we have received a coordination in plants. So story of animals is over. Now inside plants, we will understand the coordination. It's very simple. Why? Because plants don't have to move around much at all. That's why plants don't have any nervous system. The message is communicated inside plants too. How does it happen? It's mix of chemical and electric impulses, mixing both. How does the signal travel? It's transferred from cell to cell. So what's written? The stimulus is not transmitted through a nervous system like in animals. Point number 1, plants don't have any nervous system. Second, instead it's communicated through a combination of combination of electrical and chemical signals. How is the communication done? It's through a combination of electrical and chemical signals. These signals travel from cell to cell. How do they travel? Cell to cell. So beta, you must remember these 3 points. It's important because it asks how signal is transferred in plants. So you will have to write that it doesn't have a nervous system. The second point is that it's a combination of electric and chemical impulses. Third, cell to cell. Okay. The next topic is right here, movement of plants or movement in plants. Now plants don't move much, right? They don't talk, run or do anything. They just grow on their own, move from here to there, that's all. So we need to study 2 types of movement in plants. The first is tropic movement. The second is nastic movement. We'll study this later. Small, don't worry. Tropic makes you think of top. So the movement is for reaching the top. That means the movement is for growth. So a movement of plant part that happens for the sake of growth is called tropic movement. For example, suppose there is a small plant. What will happen? Slowly it will get sunlight. Slowly it will get the sun sunlight. Slowly it will get bigger. Which movement is this? It's happening for growth. So this is called tropic movement. Growth movement of a plant part in response to external stimuli. What is the external stimuli? It's the sunlight. It's growing because it's getting sunlight. It's called tropism. Tropic movement is growth dependent. It only happens for growth. Direction of stimulus determines the direction of response. What did I say? Nothing much. Suppose I put a plant here and the sun is on this side. The plant will grow by tilting a little toward this side. Why? Because it also needs sunlight. So its growth, what is it? In the direction of stimulus. That means the direction of the stimulus will decide the direction of the growth. Suppose the sun is rising from this side, sunlight is coming from here. The plant that grows will tilt a little towards this side. Why? Because the stimuli is this way, so its growth is also this way. Sometimes it can also be opposite to the stimuli. Direction of stimulus determines the direction of response. The stimulus was from here, so the response also went here. Growth of plant towards stimulus is positive tropism. Growth of plants away from the stimulus is negative tropism. Both can happen. It might grow towards the stimulus or it might grow opposite to it. You don't understand. It's very simple. I take a stimulus like sunlight. So what happened? The upper part of the plant went towards the sunlight, towards stimulus. So what did it become? Positive tropism. But the roots of the plant beta will run away from the sunlight. They want to hide. They hide inside the soil. Where did the roots run off to? They ran away from the sunlight. They ran away from the stimulus. So what did it become? Negative tropism. So if growth is happening in the direction of the stimulus, we call it positive tropism. If growth is happening opposite to the stimulus, we call it negative tropism. Now we have to study different stimuli and their positive tropism and negative tropism, and you just have to memorize them, bhai. Let's see, bhai. The first is phototropism. Whenever I said photo, it means photon, that is light is being talked about. So phototropism means the growth of a plant part towards or away from the light. The growth of the plant's part will either be towards or away, as explained. Positive phototropism. Look at this example. Stem of a growing plant bends towards light. The stem, which is the shoot, you can write stem or shoot, meaning the upper part. The shoot is there or stem is there, meaning the upper part. It will bend like this. Where? Towards the sunlight, isn't it? Right? And the roots, what will they do? They will run away. Negative phototropism. Roots of a plant moves away from light. So what does negative mean? They ran away from the stimuli. Positive means towards the stimuli. So positive phototropism. The shoot went that away. Negative phototropism. Roots came here. Geotropism. Beta, hearing geo should bring gravity to mind. Geotropism means gravity. So growth of plants towards or against gravity. Now look here. Just look. Where did the roots go? Towards gravity. Downwards. Positive gravity tropism. That means positive geotropism. And where will the stem or shoot go? Opposite to gravity. Negative geotropism. Roots of a plant moves toward gravity. Where do the roots go? Towards gravity. Inside positive geotropism. Stem of a plant moves upward gravity. Where does the plant grow? Towards upwards. So against the stimuli. What is the stimuli? Gravity, which is pulling downwards. Opposite to this, negative geotropism. Next, hydrotropism. Hydro means clearly water. So growth of plant towards water or away from water. It gives only the example of positive here. What? Roots of a plant towards water. I'll show you a diagram of this later. What happens? Roots of the plant went towards the water. I'll show the diagram later. Hydrotropism, movement away from water. Next is chemotropism. Chemo means movement towards chemical. Towards or away from a chemical. Right. It has only one example. The male part of the plant, the pollen, goes towards the female part, the ovule for a chemical. Positive chemotropism. Growth of pollen tube towards ovule during fertilization. You will find this in next chapter when we study reproduction. Then you will find it in the reproduction chapter. Positive chemotropism means movement towards a chemical. So the male part of the plant moves towards the female part. There is no example of negative movement away from chemical. Negative means away from the chemical. Next is thigmotropism. Thigmo means beta, we talk about touch or something. It means growth of a plant part towards or away from touch. There is only an example of positive here. Thigmotropism. Thigmo means touch. So what is positive thigmotropism? So you must have seen some climbers. If you tie a thread, what happens? They grow along that thread. So climbing parts of a plant such as strands grow towards support and wind around them. What happens? They start going around the support like this, like this, like this. So positive thigmotropism. So we need to remember these 4 types of tropism: photo, geo, hydro, chemo and thigmo. If we go towards them, it's positive. If they go opposite, then negative. There are some diagrams that you need to see. The exam asks them, that is important. Look at them carefully, practice them too. Like phototropism. Now look, sunlight came, the shoot, meaning the upper part, went towards the sunlight. What did it do? Positive phototropism. The root ran away. What did it do? Negative phototropism. This diagram of hypotropism is very important. The board asked it. Look at it carefully. What did you do? You planted a plant. Next to it, what did you do? You put a porous pot. Porous means it will have a small, tiny, very small pores will be there. Little pores, little holes. And you fill it with water. Now the soil has shown that water is on this side. Since it has pores, a little water must be coming out. So what did the roots of the soil say? What did roots say? This side is water. So roots run this way towards the water. What is that showing? Positive hydrotropism, running towards the water. This side is dry soil, this side moist soil. Root draws towards water. Next is geotropism. Geo means the gravity one. So even if I put the plant like this, if I put the pot sideways like this, what will happen? The roots will run downwards, that is towards gravity, positive geotropism. And the shoots will go towards the sun, meaning opposite to the gravity, negative geotropism. All three diagrams are important. Look, similar questions come in 25, 22, 2019. They draw a diagram or asked to draw a diagram. It says name the moment which causes X and Y to grow downwards and upward. Which Y is this? Geotropism, right? So it says name the moment. So which moment is it? Geotropic movement. What is the stimulus here? Gravity. What is the root showing? Positive. What is the shoot showing? Negative, opposite to the gravity. Okay. The second type of movement is Nastic movement. Nastic movement is one that happens suddenly. It has nothing to do with growth. All the tropic movement were for growth. All the tropic movements, all the shoot going up, the root going further down into the soil to strengthen the roots were happening for growth. Nastic movement has nothing to do with growth. This is a sudden movement to protect the plants. So this is a growth independent movement. NCERT gives only one example of this and the board asked it many times. If you touch the touch me not plant Mimosa pudica, if you touch the touch me not plant, what does it do? It folds its leaves. What is it? It's a touch sensitive plant. Did folding the leaves cause any growth? No, it did to protect itself. When we touch the leaves of a sensitive plant like Mimosa pudica, which we call chui mui, they fold. How are these? By growth independent. An emergency happened, a problem came, it folded. Okay. Now there's a difference between tropic movement and Nastic movement. I will explain quickly to you. First thing, why does tropic movement happen? For growth. Why does Nastic movement happen? Not for growth. So this is growth dependent and this is growth independent. This is growth dependent and it's growth independent. Second thing, tropic movement has a direction. Either the shoot is going up or the root is going down, something like that is happening. A direction, either positive or negative. That is unidirectional. Don't say by. One means one part will take one direction. Root will only go down. One part only has one direction. So it's unidirectional. Nastic movement has no direction. That leaves folded. So this is a non-directional movement. So this become unidirectional. This become non-directional movement. Third thing, tropic movement is slow. The plant must have grown slowly. But Nastic movement is sudden. It happens suddenly. Why? By as soon as it touched, the plant closed. So this is slow. This is fast, rapid movement. Fourth thing, listen. How is that tropic movement irreversible? Once the plant has grown, it won't become small again. But Nastic movement is reversible. You touch the chui mui, it closed. After a while, you remove your end, it opened again. So Nastic is reversible. That leaves will open again. This is irreversible. Once it has grown, it won't go back. So this is a permanent and irreversible. This is temporary and reversible. Slow action. This is immediate rapid action. And what else? Found in all plants. Found only. This will happen in happy sensitive plants or specialized plants. One question the board asks a lot. How do leaves or plants move? Now listen carefully. I told you how do we do movement because of, remember, specialized proteins that we have. That's why our muscles move. Specialized protein change their shape. Plants don't have such specialized proteins. So how did the leaf folding happen? No specialized protein. How? How did its tissue move? No specialized protein. How did they fold? How did the plant go up? How is the movement happening? How is it shaking? We have specialized proteins that change their shape, which is why this is happening. They don't have them. Beta, this movement happens just because, have you seen that? Just because of the movement of water. For example, remember you read in the previous chapter, opening and closing of stomata. When did it happen? When the guard cells observed water and they opened. When they release water, they are closed. So remember, in animals, the movement happens due to a change happens because of specialized proteins in muscles. In plants, the movement happens due to change in amount of water in cells, resulting in swelling and shrinking. Very important. Why does important happen in plants? Because of change in amount of water. Guard cells absorb water, so they open. Guard cells released water, so they close. Due to a change in amount of water. Remember, movement in plants is due to what the board asks, due to a change in the amount of water. And why does movement happen in animals? Because of specialized proteins. Okay. It also says that animals have nervous system, plants won't. Remember this one. Okay, question CBC 25, 24, 16, similar question come. Observe the figure A and B. When chewy moist sensitive plant is touched, its leaves folded. Its leaf folded. When what kind of movement is it? Nastic. It happens suddenly. It's reversible, temporary, slow, fast. You know all these things. But look at the options. This is due to. Why did it fold? Hormonal effect, thermal effect, change in amount of water in cells. Plant movement only happens due to a change in the amount of water. Look at next one. Looks BC 25, 22, 20, 19. Similar question. Leaves of sensitive plants move very quickly. Something similar comes. It's not exact. In response to touch. How is this stimulus to touch communicated, and explain how the movement takes place? It asks both things. First, how was it communicated? Plants don't have nervous system, so how will it communicated? Combination of electric impulses and chemicals from cell to cell. First. Second, how the movement takes place? Why did the movement happen? Because of a change in amount of water in cells. That's written here. The stimulus is not transmitted through a nervous system like in animals, communicated by electrical chemical signals. The movement is called Nastic movement and happens immediately. The movement happens due to change in amount of water in cells, resulting in swelling. Remember, stomata would swell or shrinking. Remember this. It's a very important. It often gets ignored. Come on, let's move forward. Next, beta, just like animals have hormones, hormones in plants are also very simple. Your NCERT gives only 4 hormones, rate them. 3 hormones are those that promote growth, growth promoter, GP hormone. 1 hormone is such that inhibits growth. There is one that stops growth too. Why? We'll figure it out. Plant hormones and their function. The first one is very important. The board asks about it a lot. Auxin, what is their job? To elongate the cell. It elongates the cell, promotes cell elongation and shoots, controls phototropism. I am going to show you this later. So auxin has one job, to lengthen the cell. What is it? A growth promoter. It is causing growth, promoting it. The second is gibberellins. What does gibberellins do? It elongates the stems and is mostly found in fruits and seeds, where more growth is needed. They are growing parts, fruits, seeds, etc. Stimulates stem elongation. What does it do? It's lengthen the stem. Present in high concentration in areas such as fruits and seeds. It's found more in fruits and seeds. Next is cytokinin. Cytokinin comes from the word cytokinesis. What does cytokinin do? Is the division of nucleus. So what does cytokinin do, beta? Promotes cell division. Where is it found? Promotes cell division. Delays aging of leaves, and it hasn't said where. Delays aging of leaves and flowers. What does it do, beta? Stops are living to grow the older. Growth promoter. These 3 are growth promoters. What does auxin do? It lengthens the cell. What does gibberellins do? It lengthens the stem. It's found in the fruits and seeds. It helps them grow bigger. What does cytokinin do? It promotes cell division. More cells are being made. All cells being made. It's stopping the aging of leaves and flowers from getting old. There is one more hormone, abscisic acid. This is a growth inhibitor. It doesn't let the plant grow. That's why it is also called stress hormone. It is released in stress. Plants also get stressed by. Suppose the plant has some problem, it's not getting proper food and water, not getting sunlight. So what will plant do? It will stop the growth. If you don't get food and water, you will only perform essential function. So at that time, abscisic acid is released. This hormone is released, which is growth inhibitor, abscisic acid. Now what will it do? It will only let important things happen. Causes stomata to close. It has the stomata to close. While trying to take in carbon dioxide, water will escape. We have a shortage of water. It's a stress situation. So what did it do? It closed the stomata. Maintains dormancy in seeds. It tells the seed to not to germinate yet. We don't have food and water to give you right now. Sunlight, food, water, photo, nothing is happening. It's a stress situation right now. Don't that germinate yet. We can't raise the babies right now. We need to survive. Welding of leaves. It's saying we can't provide food. It says do one thing. Drop these leaves by, fold them by, make them old by, let us survive. Okay. Okay. This is an important phenomena. Bending of an plant. Who does it? Auxin does it. That's why it is written controls phototropism. That means I told you when sunlight comes, where does the plant bend? It bends towards the sunlight. You saw that, right? The plant stem bend towards the sunlight. Positive phototropism. This happens because of auxin. Phototropism happens because of the auxins. How? Auxins are found at the tip of the plant stem. Where are they found? At the tip of the plant stem, on this part. And even here, where are they? They are in the shaded region, in the shaded area. That is not in the sunny area, but on the back side. Why on the back side? Because they run away, beta. They run away scared of the sun. It's a long story about proteins, etc. We won't be able to explain. Where are they? Where are the auxins found? At the tip of the stem. And even at the tip of the stem, where are they? In the shadow area. Now, after reaching here, what does the auxin do? It elongates the cell. So, if this part lengthens, the plant will bend forward. So, the same story is written here. What is written? The exact same story, fully written. When light falls on a plant from one side, auxin moves and accumulates on the shaded side. When the sun shines, auxin feel the heat. What does it do? Moves and accumulates on the shaded side. It comes to the shaded side. Auxin stimulates cell growth. So cells on the shadow side elongates. The cell grow big. And the stem bends towards the light. The same question CBSE 25, 22, 19 asked this a lot. How does auxin cause the bending of the plant? So this and this diagram, both. Where is the auxin made? At the tip of plant stem. At the tip of stem. And which area? The shadow area. There is lengthen the cell, which causes the plant to bend. It's been asked many times in the board. Look at the question 25, 24. The plant hormones promoting rapid cell division, cytokinin, in seeds and wilting of leaves, abscisic acid. So cytokinins, abscisic acid. Next, CBSE 25, it came this year. Plant hormone whose concentration stimulates the cell to grow longer on the side of the shoot, which is away from light, auxin, right? So it asks a lot about auxin. Here, beta ji, this chapter concludes. If you enjoyed it, write in the comments. I am the master. Thank you so much. Keep studying. All the very best.